Okay, cheers.
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 We all have drinks today because we need them.
Drinks are necessary. Although mine is coffee. Mine is not alcoholic. I'm sorry.
Oh my
I know.
Krista,
Again.
you're always not on the same page as the rest of us. Either you show up with a mimosa or you show up with coffee.
An entirely different stimulant.
I need the energy. I'm sorry.
Lord, beer me energy. Okay, so cheers. Let's get right into what's happening in the world. Krista, I see that this time you have added a Taylor Swift topic to our planning document today. So let's go there.
I did add this one. Have y'all seen all the AI porn of Taylor Swift on Twitter?
I have not, but I've heard about it. I've heard
Okay.
people talking about it. I have not seen it.
Yeah.
Sounds
So
rough.
it's pretty
Awesome.
terrible. Yeah, it's pretty terrible. A couple days ago, I saw that AI Taylor Swift was trending, and I was like, this can't be good, and it was not. So yeah, these people made a bunch of images of her doing really bad things to, like, I think it's like the Chiefs coach, and of her in a bunch of compromising positions and nude. Yeah, it's pretty terrible. And I think the pictures were live for like 17 hours and then finally got taken down, but they had, infinite views and retweets by that point and, screenshots and stuff. But I think she's considering taking legal action. I don't even know what that means. And I don't know against who, but this, I think, is what scares me the most about AI. Like the fact that somebody is able to produce like insanely realistic deepfakes of anybody they want, and all the misinformation that's going to come with it. And it's like, what can we even do about it? It's absolutely terrifying. But it's sad because, like, while she is somebody who has all the resources to take action, like, imagine all the girls this is going to happen to.
Yes.
That it will just go unnoticed and they're just going to have to deal with it and nothing will be able to be done. Yeah, I think this is going to be a really bleak aspect of all this.
Yeah, it really makes you question what's real because they are so realistic at this point that it's hard to say. It's really hard to discern. We've lost that moment of like, I can tell this is fake. Now it's like, wow, that looks actually quite real. And so, yes, that's my concern too, of like, if you're a teenager in this era of where somebody could make this up, and again, it's your word against the visual proof of the image, which is terrifying.
Yeah,
and
I know.
So scary.
I remember being in high school, because I'm younger than you guys. And that was when, well, usually you give me shit about it. Instagram was saying
today.
Yeah.
There was a lot of revenge porn when I was in high school and college.
Really?
Yeah, like pictures and videos taken during like certain things and just posted. And obviously people were slower getting that stuff off, but it was a big deal. It was written into law. Like there's like law and like rules about it now. This is kind of feeling like that. I imagine like I saw some of the pictures like blurred or just like general settings and you could tell that those are fake. I can imagine it's still really fucking jarring to see your face in that picture. But yeah, for the girls and even the men, I mean, I'm sure it's happened to men too. Like the women and men who are victims to this that are like kind of regular people with regular resources and like you can't, what are you going to do? Like, who are you going to put that to? You know?
I can't imagine. Yeah. It's going to get
So violating.
And even like the misinformation side of it going into an election year, I'm so scared of what that's going to be like. And it's already started. I think a few weeks ago, I saw something about robocalls in New Hampshire before some primary election. It was Biden, but it wasn't Biden. And it was Biden's voice telling people, like, stay home, like, you need to save your vote. It's so important for you to save your vote for November, and just encouraging people to not go vote at the primaries. And yeah, it's like, the older generations, I feel like if they don't know that this is happening, it's just, I'm so scared for what later this year will look like with the election, with all of this.
I saw a tweet a couple of weeks ago about basically the generation of young people today. I don't know if it's Gen Alpha or another one has started. I can't even keep track, but it's basically like what they think of as reality is going to be fundamentally different than our definition of reality because of AI. And so it's this thing of like, what's real, what's true. Like it's complicated enough on the surface of it. There's always 100 interpretations of everything, but now this is a whole other layer on top of that, which makes it even more confusing. And yes, it's easy to weaponize too. So it's doubly concerning.
Yeah. And it's going to happen so fast. Because even think about us, like our generation, I think was the first generation that obviously normalized online relationships and friendships. Like before we normalized it with like Tinder and Twitter and all these apps, I think online anything was looked at as super sketchy, not real, something to be made fun of. And then we normalized it very quickly. And now, like, look at us. We are all very real friends who met online. And that happened so fast. And I can't imagine how quickly, like, all of this is going to happen.
It's so funny you say that. Because I remember watching like a rom-com that from like 2005 or 2010 or something, and the couple had met online and they didn't ever want to say it. Like it was such a big deal.
Yes, I remember.
Yeah, this is definitely a trope in many, many rom-coms, but it made me laugh because I was like, people don't care now. Like it's actually way more common. Like Austin and I met in person and people were like, whoa, like IRL. And I'm like, yes, out in the world. Like, that happens.
Even in 2013, when Tinder was really new, it was still super taboo. And I would go on dates and I would be like embarrassed to tell my friends that I met the person on Tinder because it was still just seemed really weird to people. And then, 10 years later, and that's just like how most people meet now.
Don't you think that AI, though, and even like AI editing features further complicate those types of dynamics or like context? Because it's the thing of like, unless there's a tool built into the app that tells you if somebody has used AI to edit their photo, you go into this setting where you're meeting the stranger, you're putting a lot of trust into what the information they provided you, but then you show up and the person looks nothing like their picture because it's been so edited, or it's an AI generated image and you don't even know it.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's already happening now, but I would just think that it just makes, I'm thinking of like the larger implication of how we trust each other as human beings and how much we hold back because we're like, well, I don't know what's actually true. Like, I don't know if this is a real picture of you. I don't know if this is actually who you say you are. I feel like it creates a lot of mistrust innately.
For sure. Oh, totally. And I just think the only solution is that we're going to see kind of circle back around to way more in-person things.
Yeah.
In-person events, in-person hangs.
For sure. So. There's an article by Maggie Appleton that Alex and David and I were talking about. It's about like how to identify humans on the internet in the age of Gen AI. And it was mostly through the lens of like content. So, content marketing and writing on the internet and how you can tell if someone is them or if it's a AI bot or if they used AI. And there's a lot of interesting ways to qualify it. Like obviously AI can't generate like original thought and opinion, just like very specific elements of analyzing certain text. And there was one of the ways of doing this, I think it was the last step, it was like spend more time in the meat space, which is literally like a word for IRL, like in real life, like the meat space.
Like meat suit. Yeah.
Yeah. And they linked to this article about the fetishization of offline first life, which I think we've seen that on Instagram with like cottagecore and like I just want to live on a farm and like raise chickens and wash my clothes in sink, and like the pendulum for millennials is swinging the other way. And is also mentioning like real estate price in more densely populated areas has gone up because people want to be around other people. Like there's just so many signals, at least for folks our age and older, that are just like, fuck this. Like, I don't want anything to do with this. And I think that I don't know about Gen Z and younger. Like, I really don't think that like it's a popular train of thought. Like you definitely feel likely like an outcast when you're already pretty socially aware, right? Like 25, you're just like caught up in I couldn't imagine being in high school or college right now. Like if you didn't have a TikTok or Instagram, you'd probably be such a pariah, or you just wouldn't feel connected. You just feel fundamentally disconnected. Like I don't have a TikTok, and it literally doesn't bother me. I'm like, get that shit away from me. But I
Same.
feel like there's a privilege because I'm like post those years. Like I don't need to be subject to like what my peers are doing. There's other ways to be connected. Like I'm older or whatever. But yeah, I think our age and older definitely a lot more focus on IRL. And
Yeah.
it's almost like the minority now.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Spending time in person.
I gotta tell you, I gotta be honest, I've been having a lot of difficult conversations about this exact thing lately of we live in this very rural area and it's great because it's cheap, right? And it's centrally located and it's easy. I can go to the grocery store and come home and it takes 20 minutes. Like I don't have to wait in line. There's a lot of convenience to it. But the reality is it's super isolating. And again, for 10 years, I've been working alone from home by myself. I don't have a third place. I don't have a coffee shop that I can like go and hang out at. There's no co-working space. And I think it's really damaging. I think it makes me feel super unplugged from the world. And so now it's like, okay, do we move? Like, do we sacrifice the low cost of living? Or like, do I move away and do I go try to find something new? And because I need that. Even if it's the alone together thing where you're sitting in a co-working space and you're not talking to other people, but you're around other people, I think that's like, it's catching up. And I've played the game of like, this is fine. Like, there's enough benefits to offset. It's fine. And now I'm 35 and I'm like, whoa, this is serious. This has serious ripple effects. It's not just, I can roll with this. It's like, wow, I feel super unconnected as a human being on this planet and I got to fix this. So it adds up.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that because I was actually on Reddit the other day and I was going down a rabbit hole and it was kind of the same theme of like this cottagecore like fetishization of that farm lifestyle. And there was a discussion. I don't even remember how I got on this, but there was a discussion about like, oh, it'd be so great. Like I don't want to see people. I just want to be out in the middle of nowhere. Like leave me alone. This guy chimed in and he was like, listen, I grew up on a farm. I appreciate my lifestyle. It works for me and my family. It is really fucking isolating.
Oh, yeah.
There's definitely a lot in between living in the middle of the city and being overwhelmed every day and living alone in the middle of nowhere. Like there's a lot that exists in between that spectrum.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of the key is finding, first of all, what works for you and your family, but also like testing a couple different options like suburbia or maybe living a little bit outside a major city where you know in your heart, if I needed to be around people, it's within an hour, but I don't need to see them every day. Like and maybe that's what you'll find, Kaylee, is a better compromise where the cost doesn't go up drastically, but you still feel within reach of folks. I'm big on the alone together thing. Like I'm very much introverted, but like going to a coffee shop and just seeing other people, not talking to them, I'm like, I'm good. Just check the box for the day.
Yeah. But
really does
I think we're built for connection, right? We're like built to be herd animals. We don't do well by ourselves. We kind of start to die a little bit. And I'm kind of feeling like I'm dying a little bit. So I'm like, what can I do differently? Like, how can I foster this greater sense of connection? Like this podcast is a move in the right direction. When we meet in real life and we record together, like that feels like a move in the right direction. Going to meetups and conferences and like doing co-working retreats with fellow freelancers face to face in the same place. I want more of that in my life. And I feel like those are very planned, structured, formalized things. And I want a little bit more like jazz when it comes to that, to be able to just pop in somewhere on a Thursday and have more of that feeling. And if you live in somewhere very rural, it's difficult. You'd really have to travel. And then again, it becomes more formalized, more structured. You have to plan for it. You can't just improvise and like pop in. Like Krista, I'm sure you probably do that a lot, right? Like I go to a coffee shop.
Yeah. And it does make it makes a world of difference. It really does. The alone together thing.
I just think Austin is like probably a great place for that, where there are a lot of those third places.
For sure.
And Allie, you too in Chicago. Like, do you have places you go or do you stay home because you get in the zone at your computer?
So I've worked remote my whole career. It's been super lonely. Obviously having like video calls and just knowing there's people doing the same thing I am, other places in the world is nice. There will come a time in the week that I'm like, I need to go to a coffee shop, right? I've even gone to a bar and just like worked with a drink, and like seeing people out doing life is so satisfying to me. But I think it's interesting because like Austin goes into school every day and he comes home and he's like, no more people. And I'm like, I need people. So like going, and that's why I can't work out at home. I have to go to a gym. That's why like I do improv, like knowing I at least have one plan every weekend that are around people. It's good for my psyche. It's almost like having a vacation on the
Yes,
horizon. It's just good to have it.
it is. It's important.
Yeah.
It's really important.
Yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of other people feel that way too, because remote work has grown so much in the last decade. You know, a lot of people probably are feeling this, or feeling the catch up feeling of, oh my God, I'm doing this for a decade. And honestly, like when I was thinking about it last night, I was like, from age like 26 to 35, my youth, right? Like my young adulthood, I've spent alone in my house. That's upsetting. That's really upsetting to me. It's very, like you said, it's very lonely. And I've known this the whole time, and I kept let it happening. Like I allowed it to keep happening. So
Yeah.
anyways, kind of depressing, but something to think about.
Well,
I do want to.
Oh, sorry.
ahead.
No,
No,
I was
go,
supposed
go.
to keep. Well, I just
No, say.
I feel like I've even heard people kind of going back on the remote work thing. Like, you know, a lot of companies in Austin now do like a hybrid thing. So like they ask everybody to come in twice a week. And I have a friend who started a job where she goes in every Tuesday, Thursday, but so does the rest of the company. So her whole team is there.
Nice.
And she really was dreading it at first, but now she loves it because like they're all there, and you can there's just certain things about building relationships with, I guess, anybody, but especially coworkers, you just can't get remotely.
You can't. There's nobody to pop into their office and like shoot the shit with, or like, hey, it's my birthday, let's go get lunch. You know, just like those moments of humanity, you miss them.
Just the in between moments, like where you're sitting next to somebody all day and you're just kind of trading like sarcastic jokes, just like just out of nowhere. Like you don't get that, and it makes me sad. It does make me sad.
It's really sad.
Yeah, I mean, I've never gone into an office, and I didn't mind it until COVID. People like just regaling remote work, like, oh, you've been doing this for your whole like career. This is so nice. I finally get to work from home. Like I only get to do that if I'm sick. And I'm like, dude, just wait. And I know now some people, like parents, people who are maybe taking care of a sick relative, like there's some folks it doesn't work for. I would kill to have somewhere to go in the city to work that I knew.
Me too.
People that were doing the same thing I was doing. We've talked about like having co-working space across the country for folks to go into. To me, it doesn't really solve the issue because I don't have any coworkers here. I could do the same thing if I go into a coffee shop, you know? So we're not doing that. But there's something to be said about just participating in life, like going out, smelling the trees and the flowers. Like Austin and I had this big conversation about this concept of inconvenience and how many businesses have tried to solve for that, like Instacart, for example.
Okay.
I think going grocery shopping is really important. Especially
and sometimes you find things you didn't even know you needed or wanted.
But just participating in everyday life, right? Like you can convenience the hell out of your life, and what ends up happening is all you have to do is sit on the couch all day. And what life?
That's true.
Not to go.
That's true.
Integrate with society and deal with the frustration of traffic or whatever. But that's just part of life. Like fewer and fewer people are a part of now. And I think like when I have the guys in town, we have an offsite here, and I'm going down to to a co-working space and going down into the loop in Chicago. I'm taking the train. I'm like, this is so fun. Like, look at all these people like bustling and hustling, and like, sure, I don't want to do this every day. Like every day would be a drag. I'd probably lose its luster. But once in a while, I'm like, the world is still turning, even though I'm really fucking depressed sometimes.
Yeah. Well, Krista, every time you travel, you say like you're out doing your main character energy, like just like out in the city, you know, like
walking around, seeing what's going on.
Part of it.
Alone together. That is lovely.
It is. It's nice. Okay, I have to know about the leggings leg. I know the legging legs. What is this? I've seen it. I don't know what it is. Just quickly. Tell me.
I saw a video on Instagram this morning about it, and apparently it was this trending theme of like girls having the perfect legging legs, and I think it's a callback to the thigh gap, which just makes me really upset because I thought that we had done away with that. And the girl that was doing the video, she was essentially saying like, this is really dangerous. Like we shouldn't be making this a thing. And she had a bunch of videos and like the comments under the videos kind of churning or going through as she was talking over it. And it was a bunch of comments like, this girl has the best legging legs. This girl is so hot or whatever. And someone's like, did we go back to 2000 Tumblr? Like, why are we talking about people's like thigh gaps in their legs? So I don't know. It stuck out to me because I was like, I thought we were over that. I thought we were embracing like all types of bodies.
I'm looking at photos now. Yes, it does seem to be very specifically tied to the thigh gap.
Oh, God. I'm very surprised this is trending without people like completely dragging it to hell and canceling. Because it just seems like, like you said, we're way past that, should be.
I hope so, but
this is social media zeitgeist is so fickle. Like what
it really is.
Something is the worst. One day something is okay. We'll accept it. Let's push it. It's just like another reason why I'm very little interest in keeping up in that world.
Yeah. Well, this transitions nicely into the next topic, which is the women being bunny, deer, fox, or cat pretty. So, Allie, you put this in here, right? Give our listeners a little bit of background on what this means.
So I put it in here because, again, we are obsessed with fucking typecasting. And it made me laugh because at first I was like, somebody sat down and thought about this. How nice would it be to have the time? But it's also funny. I do appreciate how it's like all women are pretty. All women are beautiful. How? Right? Like, what are their strengths? What are their not redeeming qualities, but what are their best qualities? So I did appreciate how it wasn't exclusionary in nature, but I thought it was interesting because like a bunny, silly, timid, curious, high-spirited, social, affectionate. Cat is outgoing, dominant, spontaneous, impulsive, independent. A deer, shy, wary, quiet, nervous, observant, peaceful. Fox being, sly, mischievous, intelligent, determined, kind of like in line with how we classify the animals themselves. So I basically wanted to ask you guys who you think you are, or who you think, the others are. Because I don't even know.
First of all, those are personality and characteristics, has nothing to do with your face.
Not physical.
I got a real problem with tying it to pretty. Second of all, I absolutely want to participate. So without a question, I'm a fox. 100% fox. I've always felt like a fox. Yes.
Agree.
I'm a fox.
You're a fox.
Because I'm always like super observant and like eating little snacks and like basically like, what are they doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? So that's a fox to me. Okay, now somebody else go.
I don't know.
Allie, I want to say you're a cat.
I think I am. I
can see that.
Was told that my spirit animal is a black panther.
Oh,
so it could be another thing that we talk about.
Yeah,
spirit animals, and people have like really parsed it down to 4 options, which I don't agree with. But yeah, I thought cat as well.
Yeah,
say more. Say why.
Well, the funny thing, I don't know. Would you guys say I'm outgoing?
I think you're very mellow, and I don't know that that's tied to outgoing. You're very ambitious, but you're very mellow.
Well, it's like we've talked about before. You say that you are more outgoing, like around the right people. Like cats.
Conditionally.
Like
conditionally.
That's cat.
That is right.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely relate to the dominant, independent things.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really impulsive or spontaneous. I also don't know if cats are impulsive or spontaneous. I have this from about
they are. I think they do what they want to do.
Yeah, I think that tracks.
Yeah. What about you, Krista?
What would y'all say that I am?
I need to know the qualifiers again.
They're in the
Okay, I'm looking now. Oh, I see it here. Okay.
It's funny because these buckets of like adjectives don't like they don't relate to each other. I would probably say you're also a cat.
Interesting. Okay.
What would you say?
I'd say bunny/fox. I think you're not timid, but I can see how you are a little bit more held back, like observant, like hanging out on the sidelines, watching what's going on, reading the room, instead of being like, bleh, like super outgoing. You're more like reading the room, but then that's kind of fox behavior too.
I was going to say bunny.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would say bunny with the occasional fox tendency.
Okay. I like that. I'll take it.
Because you're intelligent, and I think you're like you like to work, like you're very determined. I don't think that you're sly or mischievous. I don't know. The buckets are difficult because it's not a one size fits all.
It's really.
I know.
Have you guys had the spirit animal conversation with people? I feel like it's really more fruitful when you're with like people that know you really well. Like Alex, Black Panther.
Okay.
I didn't self-diagnose.
Yeah,
okay.
self-diagnose. I don't
I
know
probably would
what
say
I would say.
Fox for you, Kaylee. I probably would say Fox. For
Yeah.
you.
Fox, even without these 4 buckets. I'm a
Right.
fox. I just am.
Krista.
I don't know. I've never thought about what my spirit animal would be.
I feel like when it comes to you and you're like, yes, it just hasn't come to me yet. Let's
What
talk
if it's
about-
Franklin?
I wouldn't be surprised.
Not
Franklin
any
is my
dog,
spirit animal.
Specifically Franklin.
Yeah,
Specifically
specifically Franklin.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take it. I'll take it.
Okay.
That tracks.
I mean, I don't know his personality, but I would assume that he's like the person he spends the most time with.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
Okay.
I'll take it.
There's one note in here about the top 5 values quiz. Can you tell us what that is? What is that?
Okay, so I took a quiz recently to determine what my top 5 like life values are. My sister actually, shout out to my sister, she sent this to me, and I'll pull up what mine were. But I was mostly curious, like, because this is another like typecasting thing in a way, like another personality quiz kind of thing. So I was curious how y'all feel about like values in general. Like, do you think they are these things that you're kind of that are baked into you, like you're born with like a predisposition to have a certain set of values, or do you think that they change with you, or do you kind of think they're bullshit, like New Year's resolutions?
So many questions.
Answer them all right now.
Go.
I clicked through to the quiz because I'm a quiz slut. There are 42, 50 values that you basically have to, I'm assuming you sort through it, start to parse it down.
Yeah.
I kept 42, and in the discard pile, I put 9. And it got to the next stage where it was like, choose your top 15. And I was like, I can't.
Yeah. It gets pretty hard.
Okay, so born with values, yes, because one of the values I discarded was religion. And I was born, with religion. It was part of my life until I was in college. That's not one of my values. I did put spirituality in the keep pile, but religion and faith, I both punted because that's not how I view, like, I am more spiritual than I am religious.
Yeah.
I also punted fame and competition, which is funny because I used to play a lot of sports. Competitiveness was a huge thing for me, since has faded. Potentially in the business, like a business environment, am I competitive? But I would not want that to be a theme in my everyday life. It would exhaust me. But otherwise, a lot of these values are important to me. I don't know. I think
it was hard to narrow them down. Yeah.
Because it feels like, no, I don't believe in friendship. Like, that's important to me. So all of this is important to me. I guess it just depends, maybe more of like in what specific relation, like in my relationship with Austin, certain values are important. In my relationship with work, certain values are important. With my friendships, with myself, like relationship to self. So I think that they're a little bit more situational.
That makes sense. I can see that.
Okay. I was just clicking through to get a real taste for what the things were. What's interesting to me is that I just did this kind of rapid fire and I kept almost everything except for like 6 or 7 things. I did not narrow them down, but it seems like I just want all of it. I'm just like, give me all of it. I want all of it.
So what happens is like every step, it makes you narrow it down more and more and more until at last you get down, you like have to narrow it down to 5. And so eventually you're kind of like, well, friendship and family are both important. So I'll keep like relationships. So you just, you kind of like narrow it down that way. But yeah, I just find the concept of values interesting. And like, because I think aside from other, like different from other personality type things, we place so much importance on having values. And so it's like, I don't know, like when y'all go against your values, which happens to everybody, I feel like, does it really bother you?
Depends on what values.
Yeah, it depends on what it is.
Yes. So yeah,
it inherently prioritizes this list.
Yeah, true.
I guess it's interesting how they've structured it, because once you get further on, like creativity versus something. It's a long list. Creativity versus loyalty. I would choose loyalty.
Yeah.
So some of them are just so inherent to me, but obviously if I have both, I would. So I don't know. I guess it depends on which value is versus which value and the setting. And it depends. My favorite answer.
That's fair.
My potentially spicy take is, I think, how much rigidity do you have in your life already? So if you are a person who really values religion and faith, and that's a guiding principle of your life, I could see how that's going to prevail over a lot of other things, because that's kind of inherent to the organization itself of like, this is sacred, right? Like, this is untouchable. This is really solid. And so I think it's like, is that important to you in your life? Do you have that in your life? If it is, it's going to inform a lot of your other decision-making processes, where if you don't, you have more to choose from, I guess. I think what I'm trying to say, and again, this is why it's potentially spicy, is like, I think that those kind of structures that make everything black and white kind of close off the bubble a little bit. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I just think it's part of participation, because everything becomes more, like I said, black and white. It's a little bit like, this is the top, and like everything beneath it falls in line. So that's kind of what I'm trying to say. It's not a bad thing. It's just like part of the structure.
I don't participate anymore, because I don't think life is black and white.
I mean, no shade to anybody who does, you know.
No, I'm gonna give
no shade. Okay, Allie's gonna give a shade. I'm gonna say PC and throw my hands up. But I also don't do well with confrontation or conflict. So I'm like, don't kill the messenger. Do what you want.
I'll take it all.
Why did you put Tesla sucks on here?
I don't know. This is going in a different direction. I don't know. Do you guys know anybody with Teslas?
Yes.
So I was reading that their stock dropped 25%, which everyone's always had interesting opinions about the company, Elon Musk, all that jazz. But lately, I've heard a lot of stories. One of the people in my improv class has a Tesla. A couple other accounts I've heard of on like LinkedIn, funny enough. People's Teslas have been like glitching the fuck out this winter.
Oh,
like,
no.
They have just been absolutely dying with the cold weather. Haven't had enough battery. Charging stations have like completely died. And I think at some point, if the battery dies, you have to go buy a whole new battery, which is like $20,000 or something. It's just like such an interesting, it's always been an interesting business model to me. Like, I'm all for electric vehicles. I also am like a little bit of like a survivalist. So I think it's kind of silly to have that be your only form of transportation. But seeing the stock drop, like all of the headlines were like, pull out, like pull your investment out, which is only going to make it drop more. So I just think it's going to be an interesting couple months.
Yeah. Well, and haven't they also been catching on fire and stuff?
I have not seen that.
I've seen some issue where, they combust a little bit. I don't know how often that happens.
Did you guys ever see Don't Leave the World Behind?
Yes.
The Tesla scene?
Yeah. Pretty terrifying.
I don't remember
terrifying.
What happened?
They hacked
the Teslas, the auto driving ones. Yeah. So then they're just like driving all over the city with no driver.
Just crashing into each other on all the roads.
Yeah. I see.
Yeah, that one was pretty.
Yeah, that's bad.
Anyway, super off topic, but Tesla kind of sucks.
Boo, Tesla.
That's the name
Allie say.
New episode.
Sorry, Tesla. Throwing you under the bus.
I know Elon. Yes. And sorry, man.
Yeah, sorry. So what are we watching, reading, loving right now?
You guys would be proud of me that I watched another new show. 2 new shows at once.
What is it?
All the Light We Cannot See. Did you guys ever read that book?
I did.
Did you watch? They just released a limited series.
I tried to, and I thought it was super boring. I'm so sorry.
Oh my God.
No.
Where did you get it?
Like 4 or 5 episodes in.
I
really liked the book, though.
Only 4 episodes.
Okay, well, I got pretty far in, and just granted, it's one of those things too where like I was in a really bad place when I watched it, and so I was probably just like, "Fuck this TV show."
Oh, I mean, I had my rant last time, so don't apologize. Like one of those World War II boys. He just watches documentaries to go to sleep. I don't know.
Okay.
Or agree.
That's his Roman Empire.
Sure. Yeah. So he started watching it because it's primarily set in like, I think the timelines go between like April 1944 when the Americans invaded France and then back to 1940 when the Nazis initially invaded Paris. So it kind of like jumps in between. And he was like, this is another World War II show. And then he got started. He was like, this is not. It is, but it's like not. And I saw it and I was like, oh, this was a book. I want to watch it with you. So we restarted it, watched it. It was good. It's only 4 episodes, like hour long. I really do like the limited series vibe. Have you guys seen the Griselda show that just came out with Sophia Vergara?
Mm-mm.
Same vibe.
No.
4 episodes, hour long each. I'm like, this is
Okay.
like 4 movies. I love this.
Yeah, it is. It is essentially.
It was good. If you like World War II / novels.
I liked the book. I really liked the book.
It was interesting because you couldn't tell with the dialogue it was initially a novel. Like the dialogue.
Is there a narrator?
No. But you can just tell by the way they talk to each other and like the story is told that it's so much more. It just struck me as a lot more creative dialogue than would have been just from a straight up screenplay. Like sometimes it veered on like cheesy or like over emotional for what would have been a World War II story. But I thought it was good. I thought it was interesting. The acting was really good.
I like Mark Ruffalo.
Mark Ruffalo, Hugh Laurie was in it. I don't know if you guys ever watched House.
Yeah, I love that show.
He was very good in it. So, would recommend.
Yeah, strong cast. Just mentally not in the right place for it. What about you, Krista?
So after Chicago, talking with Allie and Austin about How I Met Your Mother, I decided to rewatch. And I'm already almost done with the first season. And I just forget how much I like it. Like I think when I haven't seen it in a while, I always default to like how many issues I had with the last season or the finale. Then when I start watching it again, I'm like, God damn it. They're so good at this. And it's so sweet. And every episode, I'm just like, okay, fine. I remember how into the show I was, and for good reason. So yeah, I'm having a lot of fun rewatching it.
That was the most bunny reaction I've ever seen in my GD life. I'm sorry. It was. I had to call it out. That was like such a bunny review of a show.
How's it bunny?
I don't know. It just is. I can't define it. But it was like, oh, a bunny would say that.
A bunny.
Whereas again, like the fox is like, I wasn't in the right mood. Fuck that show. And you're like, it's so sweet and lovely and charming.
It is.
See the contrast?
Okay, I think I tweeted this, but I need to say that like the writers for most of the show, they were just so good at building a whole world and pulling you into it with like the perfect callbacks to stuff that seems so insignificant or so throwaway, but because they keep calling it back, you're like, oh yeah, I remember when that happened, and you like feel like you're part of the group and part of it all. And there aren't many shows like that, but they do it so well, and I think that it just made it stand out so much more from other sitcoms.
That's what
is it like The Office? Because The Office kind of does that. Is it similar in that way?
I would say The Office is good at it, but How I Met Your Mother almost made it a game. Like they almost like gamified the show.
I play every time I watch it. I play a game of like, did they know to shoot this, or did they have to go back and shoot this?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
You, like, watch like the makeup and the age of the characters, which they're brilliant at covering it all up. And also,
now I have to watch
Neil Patrick Harris does not age throughout the show.
Yeah,
it's just fascinating.
He still hasn't.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love that show so much.
Yeah.
I almost just said shout out to Doogie Howser, and then I was like, Allie's not going to know what that means. It's an old ass show from being real small. So
you want to know another thing I love about him, Yam? Like so many people in the show are married to each other. Like Neil Patrick Harris is married to Scooter. Lily is married to the weatherman guy who's just a pain in the ass.
I didn't know that.
Taryn Killen.
Yes,
whatever.
And Colby,
and he's in the show. He's the steak sauce guy.
Yeah. I feel
like
that.
Had so much fun on set. Just like
I know.
I'm sure it was. Yeah,
I know.
I'm sure it was.
Oh man. And I will say, I know I texted you this, but Robin's character should have been bisexual. Like, she just should have been. She is. So I'm calling it. I've decided.
Yeah.
Could be. It's possible.
Anyway.
I don't even know what I'm talking about. I don't know what I'm talking about.
What is aesthetica?
So to take it back to being real depressing, TM. So this is a book that was recommended by a reader friend of mine on Instagram who did her annual year in review, and like she does a little Instagram story and gives a little blurb on each book. And so this book struck me because it's about this woman who is 35 and she's had a ton of plastic surgery / like Botox, filler, boobs done, like all these things. And she's an Instagram influencer, a very successful one. And she gets to 35 and she decides to go to this company called Aesthetica, where they will undo all of that work to get you back to what you would have looked like if you'd never had anything done at all before.
Whoa.
And so it's fiction, but it's a super interesting look at like what those types of things, like the impact of those things, like how this woman views herself, why she decides to get this procedure, what it means to her, what her backstory was of like each new thing that she did to enhance her appearance. I think it's a fascinating study in like what it is to be a woman living right now at this period in time, because I think it kind of peels back the curtain on a lot of things that people don't really talk about related to this stuff, of like things that can go wrong and like the pain associated with it and how it complicates the aging process. Because if you have, for example, like it was talking about getting chin filler, and then as your face ages and gets pulled down, like all of a sudden you have this really strange looking chin that's not aging with the rest of your face. And so it's really depressing. It's like a difficult read, but it's so fascinating. And it's stirring up so many things in my brain of like, again, like I'm somebody who's had stuff done to her face. And so I'm personally relating to it. And I'm also just thinking like, wow, how many other people have these thoughts and feel this way? So it's, I don't know, it's really good. I like it. Yeah, I like it.
I feel like we should talk about that.
We should put a pin in that for another time. But yes, I think it's good. I think it's good to talk about because
really
it's like,
yeah,
why do you do it? How do you feel about it? How has it changed over time? What's your relationship to it now? All these things.
Because I think it's something to be celebrated to an extent, you know? Like, I think there's no shame, but it's also like I remember the last time I got a little bit of work done, I called my friend Steph and I was like, next time I want to do this, will you talk to me before I do it? And just double check. You know,
yeah, that's good.
It's bad, but just like, what's the why?
Yeah, why are you doing this?
Sense, but I remember thinking like, there's just a lot that goes into it. It's a very complex decision-making process. And that's me as someone who can't, like, doesn't really want to pay for it. Also, I couldn't imagine someone who has an abundance of money who can really pick from whatever menu they want. I don't know. Yeah, we'll definitely need time.
Yeah, fascinating.
Would you say that it's something that is like a slippery slope? Like, oh, I'm just going to get a little Botox. And then the next time you're like, I kind of want to try this other thing. Like, is it that vibe?
I think it depends on your personality type.
Okay.
Mentally, yes. I am also a baby and I don't like needles. I think that's been my saving grace because not only is it painful to get most of the stuff done, really painful to get it dissolved. So most stuff, like you said, Kaylee, like it doesn't just go away. So
right. And this is the side of things that people don't really talk about, that like things can go wrong. Things can go wrong.
Yeah, or like the natural aging process, which I've only gotten filler in my lips, and that was 3 years ago. I do Botox on the reg. Filler is both of them are additions to your natural self, but filler is a little bit different. So, but I've been toying around with doing something soon, and I'm like, so we should definitely talk about it.
Yeah, we should talk about it. Yeah, I don't want to kill the vibe right now. I'm going to cut it there. But the book is really good. The book is super interesting, and I've been thinking a lot about it. So. Okay. What is hunks? Who's going to hunks and what is it?
I love male strip shows. I love male strippers. I love them
really
so much. Yeah.
Okay, so did you watch the Magic Mike's? First question.
Of course I did.
Okay. What a fun time.
I just think that they're so much fun. I think that they're so hot, even though most of them are gay. I just love the vibe so much. And I went to a male club for my bachelor party and I was up on stage.
Really?
Just like the best time.
Oh, I know.
Really?
My friend, I don't know if I'd classify this as like my guilty pleasure. I don't really feel guilty about it at all. But my friend Jill is coming into town next weekend and we're going to this show, this male review show called Hunks. And I will report back. But I am excited.
All right.
Funny.
I think, I'm going to be real honest, I think the only thing I like about it is that there are men doing the same thing women do. I mean, it's different, of course, but like, I like the balance of it. You know, like, it's not just a thing that women do. Yeah, men do it too. I like that balance of it.
I would actually rather go to something like Hunks than like a regular strip club, I think.
And it's not even a strip. So like the male strip club I went to, like they're not just standing around a pole and just like waiting for people to stuff dollars in their underwear, which is great, right? It's
They're
more
like dancing,
it's
right?
more of a performance. It's more of
Yeah.
like a show, which I think
Right.
is like a little bit lighter weight than a strip
Totally.
club.
Yeah, review is a very accurate description.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but I've been to normal strip clubs and I don't like them. So I don't know what
I've never been.
I don't know what that says about me. I don't know
Vibes are off.
because I'm like, men,
Never been.
you're vulnerable. I'm safe. I'm happy about this. I don't know.
Wait a second though. What about a burlesque show? Because that's something I'm interested in.
So
That to me seems more in line with
Yes.
the review.
Yeah.
It's a performance.
100%. I've never been to one. I think I would really like it because I
think I would too.
The whole, I'm like,
Yeah.
this is fucking awesome. You are amazing.
Yes.
I think that's kind of what this is.
It's less
a
like
male, yes.
gross.
Yeah.
So I don't even know if I'd call it a strip show. I think I'd call it like a male burlesque.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense to me.
There is a burlesque place in LA that I went to a few times with friends called Jumbo's Clown Room. And
What a name.
it was very fun. It was very fun. It wasn't like, I feel like the strip club thing, vibes are off, but it was very different as a burlesque show.
That's a much better way to classify that and like drag shows. Have you guys ever been to drag brunch?
I've been to a drag
Yeah.
brunch. Yeah. So fun. What a delightful time.
Yeah, totally.
Yes. So let's classify what I'm going to in that bucket. Not
Okay.
the strip.
Yeah, yeah.
Not use the word strip.
That makes sense.
I'm really excited.
Okay.
It's gonna be fun.
Excited to hear your review of the review. That was fun. Okay. Lightning round with 2 to 3 fun questions. First question on topic, because Barbie. You're made into a Barbie / any type of doll. What 2 items or accessories do you come with? Allie, you go first.
Oh, Lactaid and my Kindle.
Nice. Nice. Those are good.
I forgot that you said lactate. I like it. Kaylee?
I think mine would be a golden retriever or any dog, but preferably my own golden retriever. And I wobbled here. I was like, do I say a book? But then I don't want to be committed to one book. Should it be a snack? Because I always need a snack. I think I'm going to go with snack. I want to have a snack if I'm going to have an accessory. I don't know what snack is.
Okay.
Probably like Lay's potato chips.
Baked or regular?
A little bit of both. I like to have options.
A mixed bag.
A mixed bag of 2 kinds of chips.
Great. Perfect. I think
Barbie
that's spot on.
Or a string cheese. A string
Okay.
cheese. That's the other one.
Okay.
Keep that.
Yeah,
away from me.
golden retriever and a string cheese.
Mine would be a Fountain Diet Coke and yes, my dog Franklin. I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Every girl's accessory. Allie, you can have both your cats too.
On me.
Just 2 cats.
Yeah.
2 cats. Unless they don't feel up to it.
Those
It's
can be
their call.
add-ons. You need to purchase those separately.
Ooh, upgrade. Yeah. Okay, next question. You're on death row and you get to pick your very last meal from one restaurant. Which restaurant are you choosing and what are you ordering? Ooh, that's a good one. I don't have mine, so I need a minute. I need a minute.
Really? Okay.
Mm-mm.
My friend asked this the other day. We always ask these kinds of questions to each other. And wait, first, do either of y'all have yours or do you still need time to think?
I have it now. Yes.
Okay. I want to hear y'all's first.
Allie, you go first.
Oh, I have multiple. Here you go.
Okay, so mine is my favorite restaurant in New York is Palma. They have these gluten-free cacio e pepe raviolis and then a chicken, it's like a breaded chicken cutlet and a little salad that comes with it. It's my favorite.
Okay.
It's the best.
Right. It's a good one. Any
Shout
like
out to Palma.
any wine or anything with it? Like you really got you can go ham because this is your last meal.
I would like a really cold glass of Riesling with it. That would be good. Like a Fritz Zimmer Riesling, if that means anything to anyone. It's kind of sweet, but it's not as sweet as Moscato, but it's like nice and crispy. Yeah.
Are you a sweet white girl?
I mean, I'm not a wine person in general, but if I'm going to drink it, I want it to be almost grape juice.
Oh, I need
So yes.
the driest of the whites.
Yeah, I can't do it. I'm like,
If I was about to die, I would eat all the things that I can't eat. So gluten and dairy.
ooh, I didn't
So-
even think about that.
Yeah,
Honestly,
Kayla, you fucked up.
You fucked up. Okay, when you're making me order from a specific restaurant, that's what like trips me out. Because the last meal, I can figure that out. But what stands out to me, and okay, so Krista, the burger episode of Hemium, the green door. I have a green door in Prague. Was never able to find it when I went back. But when I studied there, my God, that was 10 years ago. Holy shit. There was this pasta place across the street from my college, the university I was going to. I actually opened my Google Maps before this. I couldn't fucking find it, so my closed. But this was before I knew what I know now about my digestive system. There was this pasta meal, and they served them in like these Chinese takeout boxes. It was basically just like pasta with like cheese. Like I love Parmesan cheese. I think I would eat a block of Parmesan cheese a day if I could, and that would be my meal. And I don't even know what it's called. I don't know where the place is. But hey,
so is it just like butter sauce on the noodles and then Parmesan cheese?
Butter noodles. It's almost like Abed and Community, like his butter noodles. I don't know if you guys ever watched that show. Yeah, I had just a fuck ton of cheese, and then I would deal with the shits.
Yum.
Already dead.
That's true.
You're welcome.
You can like get them out.
You're welcome.
That's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one. I like it. Right, so both pasta. Y'all both want pasta. Well, Kaylee, I'm gonna
pasta with cheese.
I'm gonna give you an opportunity to revise yours.
Okay. No, I will.
Do you want to now revise given the gluten-free thing?
I stand by my meal, but I want to add the biggest loaf of Italian bread with like that nice European butter that's really like high fat content, but it's lukewarm so it spreads easy.
Yep.
Can I add something else?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, B-dubs, wings, garlic parmesan.
Ooh, that's my favorite from
I have had wings like boneless because they're always fucking breaded.
Yeah.
And are you not a bone-in wing person?
I'll make them work in order to get the wings, but I don't enjoy it.
It's not ideal.
Chicken nugget type wings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you don't have any like weird bones and stuff going on. Yeah. Nobody wants to be part of that.
Fucking Midwestern. It's not even
ranch. I just want a bucket of ranch, mashed potatoes,
Hidden Valley, bitch.
Krista, go.
This was so easy for me. It's not even funny. I would absolutely only order from McDonald's. Like, that's gotta be my last meal on earth. No, come on. Okay. It hits everything. It's nostalgic. It will remind me of my childhood, my time here on earth.
She really thought about us.
I can hit breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I can do Egg McMuffin, hash brown. I can do cheeseburger and fries, large Diet Coke.
You're getting excited just talking about it.
Nuggets.
It's McDonald's.
Come on.
The nuggets are the worst nuggets, Krista.
So, question, Krista.
They have fish breading.
Would you request a run through the play place before the needle?
Only if it was identical to the kind in the 90s. The new ones.
The big place.
Like the big
with the ball pit.
Your mom can't even see you in there.
Exactly.
You're probably getting abducted, but
or you're getting like
what's at the bottom of the ball pit. Like we'll never really know.
Or like the bottom of a pond.
Living creatures to me around down there.
McDonald's all day. Just everything on the menu.
Respect.
Yeah.
Respect. Get me a frozen Dr. Pepper while you're there. I'll take one of those. I'd like an add-on.
If you eat McDonald's before you die, it will live with your body forever.
True.
Thanks. That's perfect.
True.
Eternal McDonald's.
The coroner or the
Honestly,
whatever the fuck he is.
A better way to end my life.
This food
is eternal McDonald's.
7 year.
Oh, McDonald's, you should sponsor us just for that high praise. I mean, Krista said she wants her last meal to be all of it from McDonald's. So that's yeah.
I'll take
Eternal McDonald's. That's the name of this episode. Eternal McDonald's.
We have a lot of like quick titles.
Okay, gang. Well, I think that's it for today.
Yeah.
Cheers.
I drink scone.
This is empty.
Empty smoothie.